and the No 360 show hosted by me and Nat, the warm-hearted warrior diva. This show gives you insights on the journeys of high-achieving business owners and music artists who share with the audience the importance of building a strong community of like-minded individuals on the road to greater success. And tonight we have a special guest,
Thank
and
you.
his name is Chris Kramer. Yay!
Thank you.
I'm going to hand the mic over to you, sir, so you can tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So my name is Chris Kramer. I go by the artist name of Kramer. If you see me online, you might hear some songs that are in Japanese. You might hear some songs that are in English. I've been a producer for a long time, producing music for other people in a band called Tensei, as well as in a different band called Herma Puma, going back to about 15 years. And but these days, I just return to my original joy, which is just singing and using my voice, which is something I loved doing as a kid. And I'm glad to be here, and hope you can check me out. Again, it's Kramer is the artist name, and got a lot of new cool stuff coming up.
Well, thank you so much for taking time out. I know you have a tough schedule. You just came back from Japan,
Yeah.
He went into Spotify and said, look.
Yeah, really.
We'll dive into that later on.
Cold calls. Hey, cold calls. Like, you got to have guts sometimes. You just walk in someone's front door. But it was in Japan, which is a lot different than here. Mm-hmm. I think that if I would have walked into, like, say, Spotify in San Francisco, they might not have even talked to me. They might have just told me to go home. But over there, it's like, well, who is this guy? They're speaking my language, and there's just, I think that helped break the ice. Helps a lot.
That's so cool. I would love to be a fly on the wall to see how that transaction went.
I tried to get a video, but it just didn't turn out right. It was like in my pocket. I was on some Jason Bourne stuff, and it just didn't work.
Darn.
Darn, yeah. That's right.
Oh, wow. So we're going to dive into the questions. You grew up in a mixed Eurasian family on Chicago's South Side, right?
That's right.
How did your upbringing shape the way you view race, identity, and the world around you?
I'll tell you what, that's a long process. But I say in the early years, it's like the opposite of being like the one black guy that lives in the country. Like if you're in a small country town, there might be like two families. It was kind of the opposite dynamic where everyone, well, not everyone, but most of the people in my neighborhood were black. It just so happened that, I played sports. So it was a really good way to make friends. Mm-hmm. And I ended up making friends with a bunch of people whose moms were like going to church every Sunday, or, maybe their older brother was a DJ or something like that. And so I was like surrounded around black music since I was little.
Wow. What sport did you play?
Baseball and football. I tried to play basketball, but I sucked. Like they just tell me to get rebounds, because I'm kind of tall. I'm not shooting the ball at all. They're like, "No, Kramer, you're passing." But yeah, give me a baseball bat. I can hit it. Give me a baseball bat.
Okay, what position did you play?
First base, third base, and catcher and pitcher.
Oh wow! So pretty much all over the field.
Yeah. I probably could have played in college, but that wasn't where my mind was at by that point in my life. So I was like, but that helped make a lot of friends for sure.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I love baseball. I mean, watching it, not really playing it. I had a bad experience.
Yeah, it's tricky because you don't want to get hit with the ball, right? Right. It's like the biggest thing. It's like, I do not want a black eye today. And then the family situation is interesting because like part of my family is like actually from Middle East, and part of my family is from the Scandinavian area. But there's like actually like people that we don't know, like very close in the tree that we never knew because whatever reasons, they came over here to work as blue collar workers after the war. So it was kind of like, okay, guys, you're going to be a garbage man and you're going to live in this part of town because you're a garbage man kind of thing. So that's just sort of how it worked out. And yeah, but it was definitely like from a young age, it wasn't like a very traditional, white American community, I guess, where I grew up. So I think that influenced me quite a bit. But to be real with you, by the time I was an adult, I was like, you know what? Because I had like dealt with a lot of stuff, because in certain cases people weren't necessarily friendly, right? And that went both ways, because there would be some times where, like, say, like a black person maybe they have a certain feeling. The same thing would happen with some white people, because they're like, oh, you talk too black, or oh, you got red hair, or whatever. So like by the time I got to college, I was like, you know what, I want to study abroad. So I just was like, I want to get out of the country pretty much, and I went to Japan. And so I guess that also informed me as well, because I started learning their culture when I was still pretty young. So but now, like, I sort of incorporate a little bit of different things in the way I think, kind of like what I feel is right and wrong in a way, like from a moral compass perspective.
Oh yes, most definitely. And wow, I used to live in Germany for a little bit. And so it does broaden your perspective, being in a different culture, different environment, being forced to learn the language. Thankfully, I was in an American high school, but going, out to the community, you had to kind of know some words, right?
Yeah.
The words that I learned wasn't nice though.
Oh yeah, everyone starts out with the bad words first. That's those are the ones you're gonna remember right away.
Yeah.
Especially when you're college age or like younger, and you get invited to like beer parties, or like like drink in Asia they call it nomikai, which is like just like basically like drinking parties, but that'll break you in really quickly. I'm sure in Germany as well. Crazy.
Oh yeah. I wanted to test it, right? So you only have to be 15 years old to enter a bar.
What?
Yeah.
That's insane.
In Germany. And the liquor, I mean the volume of it is like super high. The percentage of alcohol is nothing compared to the US. So
wow.
Yeah.
Well, I guess they have trains and stuff too, though, right?
Yeah, and they believe in like holistic stuff. Not. I mean, it's, I think, expensive to have a vehicle over there. Their permit with the whole exhaust, the fuel, and what have you. They believe in like manure, natural stuff, right?
Really?
To grow their plant.
Wow.
They're very strict with for instance, if you were to walk down a path and there's like a rose bush, you get like fined for picking a rose.
Really?
Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's good and bad, but
the crazy thing in Japan is they have vending machines that you could buy liquor at, like on the street.
Wow.
And you can, in the convenience store, they sell liquor 24/7. So if you're like a person that has like hard to control your booze, you're gonna love that place, because any time of the day you could just go get whatever you want.
Wow.
But yeah, it's really interesting that it's very, very like relaxed. But on the flip side, something like, say, marijuana, you go to jail for like a year just for having a seed in your pocket. So they're really, really strict when it comes to certain things in Japan too.
Okay. Wow, that's very interesting. Yeah, in Germany, that's the culture. Beer is the culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like while you were living there, what was like the main thing that you can say that helped you in being like culturally diverse in your music and your creativity?
Definitely just having a Japanese family, because my son he's half Japanese, and they live in the countryside, so it wasn't like I got married into a family that's like in the Tokyo or Osaka. be like 3.5 hours by train in the middle of the mountains where they live. So
Wow.
it's actually called Niigataken, and out there is very traditional. It's like traditional Japan, like really traditional Japan. So I learned a lot just by being there. And one thing I think I learned is like how to respect people in like maybe in like an in-person situation, you know, like sometimes some people are like, man, you're too nice. I'm like, why am I too nice? Just because I'm like, no, that's just because that's how Japanese people are nice. Like if you meet a Japanese person the first time, they're like, oh, you know, thank you, you know, all this nice stuff. So it just kind of rubbed off on me.
Yeah, that is very interesting. You know, my daughter's been trying to learn Japanese, and she like the mannerisms as well, where when you receive something, you're supposed to put both hands out. And then when you give something, you put both hands out to give. So I'm learning stuff from my daughter
Yeah,
too.
like a business card. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's a sign of respect.
It
So,
is. It is. And also like if you visit a friend, you're supposed to bring a gift for them. It's
mm,
like it's called omiyage, and it's like
oh,
it's nothing really big. It could be something small like a bag of chips, but it's just don't come empty-handed. It's kind of like grained in the culture. So
wow.
yeah, if I visit a Japanese friend, I always got to stop somewhere and be like, okay, let me go get some cookies or whatever, just so I could put it on the table and say, hey, here you go, omiyage. Get that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I love it though. That's a very
They're
cool.
different for real.
Yeah.
It's a bit different.
Yeah. So, can you describe your approach to music as something different? What does that mean to you, and how do you incorporate your philosophy into your work?
Well, the philosophy comes in the lyrics, but that's usually I write the lyrics in a completely different sort of environment than I make music. A
Hmm.
lot of times I write lyrics when I don't have music to listen to, and I'll just write a poem on a piece of paper.
Mm.
And then, you know, but then once I start making music, I'll try to see like what I feel fits, and then I'll start playing on the piano or somebody will send me a beat. But really, I don't approach it as like I'm gonna make this kind of song or I'm gonna make that kind of song. My approach is I'm gonna make a song that I love. And so like
Mm.
every single song I made, personally I love. Maybe most of them most people won't like, but I love them. And the way
Hmm.
I look at it is as long as I love the music, somebody else will too. And so I don't really take an approach of like today I'm gonna make a trap track and tomorrow I'm gonna. That's not my thing. It's just sort of like does it feel good or not to me.
Wow, you're so cool.
No, thanks. I'm just serious.
No,
It's not
I
about
mean, no, because like when I saw, well, I think I saw your page. I met you through uh, King Yoshiman,
oh yeah, King
and
Yoshimi.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he's a
cool.
good
He's
dude.
dope. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. So then I think that's how I started following you, and then I just thought that your sound, your music, just everything was it had a vibe. It has like a vibe to it, if that
Thanks. Yeah,
makes
I
sense.
got to be real with you. Like my sound, I wouldn't say is like my sound. I'd say one of the major influences on me was when I was producing and when I was making tracks and composing with a different group. We worked with a lot of really good artists a lot, like over the years. You
Mhm.
know, we've done tracks with like Bilal or Anderson Paak or Georgianne Muldrow or
Yeah.
there's like other jazz artists like Micaiah McCraven or
Mhm.
Brandy, and they're like really like nowadays kind of prominent in their area talent. And so
Oh.
in Chicago, we it's like kind of like the center of the country, so there's always people coming to town to play shows or you know maybe a jazz musician is doing like a residency at a university for a month or whatever it was, and we're just collabing with tons of people. And in that environment I sort of learned by watching, in a sense. So it's not that it's my own sound that I made all on my own. It's that I was influenced by a lot of great people,
Mm.
but it wasn't like a class. It was just like watching them.
Yeah.
And then when I make my own stuff, I only thing I think about is, do I like it?
Okay.
And if I like it, I don't care what anyone else thinks, to be honest,
Mm.
because I'm picky. I'm really picky. So if I like it, somebody has to like it. Maybe only 5 people, but at least those 5 people really like it. It's kind of my approach.
I noticed that about your music. You really take the time to make a quality piece.
Thank you.
I don't know how to explain it. It's just listening to it. Every song is different in its own unique way. I mean, you made a song from Boba Tea. I'm like, what?
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, that was the thing. It's like when someone approaches me to collaborate, which has been happening more often these days when it comes to me on the mic. If I like the beat, I don't care what genre it is. Like, you can send me a country track. If I like it, I like it. I'll do something. It just so happened that a producer from Nigeria sent me an Afrobeat track. I was like, okay, let's go. But
I love that song.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
And we love boba tea too. So
I know. I can't tell you how many times I've seen my son take his girlfriend and get boba tea. And he's like young. So it's just like, okay, that's boba tea's pretty popular. So let me make sure that word's in the song. And that's how the title came up.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
Wow. So with such a blend of genres, hip hop, jazz, world music, what draws you to these styles and how do you navigate blending them?
I think that's that. Honestly, I that is probably something I have in my ears that I really can't explain.
Right.
I just get a feeling sometimes, and when I get a feeling, I just hammer in on it. It's really hard to explain how, because I don't really have like a procedure. Like, for example, I might be working on a song and it might start off as like a beatbox.
Right.
And I record a beatbox in my computer and I sing on top of the beatbox only. And then 3 days later, I was like, wait a minute, I'm playing piano. I was like, okay, that sounds good. Let me record it. And then a week later, I'm playing bass. Oh, okay, let me record it. It might take me 3 weeks to make a song that started off as a beatbox.
Oh, wow.
But I don't work on it the entire time. It's just I kind of wait for the feeling to come to me. So you would be surprised how many songs I have that are like way, way, way basic because it never came back to me. So what I'll do is I'll listen to some and it's like, oh yeah, I really like that one. Let me go back and touch it up. And so I'm more of like a gem polisher, I think, in the sense of, I don't think I make Big Macs. I think I make like Pandora gems or something. Like, that's kind of the way I look at it too, is like, I'd rather have a quality product and take longer than have a bunch of just okay stuff and rush.
Yeah, you know what? I never thought about that. But yeah, Pandora gems. That is
it's
too
not
funny.
diamonds, right? Because that's like a different class right there. But yeah, Pandora gems are moderately affordable, so it's kind of like it's like polishing a Pandora gem.
That is too funny. Yeah, my bestie gave you. You're just giving me flashback about Pandora gems. Wow, that is very interesting. Like a treasure box.
I guess.
Or like seashell, you're going to the beach and you're like, for me, I like when I go to the beach, I like to pick up some shells. I'm like, this is good.
Yeah. My lady does every time. And then some of them she'll paint or whatever and she'll make into stuff. This is the same thing.
I love it. Oh my gosh, that is so dope. So is there like a particular genre or an artist that has like a huge influence on you when you're developing your sound?
Yeah, I'd say like the artists that I listen to casually, just like if I'm listening to some music, I really like Anderson .Paak. Okay. I like the fact that he mixes up rapping and singing together. And so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do that in Japanese, and that's what I've been doing in Japanese. But it's not like his melodies and style. It's just the idea of taking rap and a song and singing and kind of meshing it together. He's definitely, his music's definitely inspired me. And honestly, like a lot, I still listen to the 90s stuff. So I still listen to Tribe Called Quest, or, you know,
Mm-hmm.
I still got my backpacker playlist that I put on every once in a while with, you know,
Okay.
Wu-Tang Clan and Tribe
Yep.
Called Quest, or, you know, MF Doom. I really like underground, like 90s hip hop. And
Okay.
so like that's always in my rotation. And then I like jazz, but I like some of the more modern jazz, like artists like Makaya McCraven, who I know, or like Robert Glasper. I really like the way that he incorporated the jazz into the hip hop and the soul, and you know, he put together the projects where it's like kind of like fusion of those. But I wouldn't say I actually set off to copy anybody. I just like if I like it, you know, I listen to it over and over again. But those are some of the ones. I'm also a sucker for like old, what they used to call trip hop, which is like Portishead, if you remember, or like so there's these old artists that aren't like current artists. That I tend to get into those more than I do like brand new stuff for some reason. I don't know why, but maybe it's a matter of it connects with me more because it has more live instruments than like the current like super electronic music.
Do you like house music?
Oh, I love house music. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm from Chicago, of course.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I was. That's what I was. That's what I was wondering. I kind of felt a little bit
like deep.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I'm digging it. Maybe that's what it was, because my love for like the '90s also, and house music, and there was a lot of house in Germany, like the rave type of music too. So I really get into that, you know.
Yeah,
neon lights.
I'll tell you another one that I listen to frequently is whenever I see like a Soul in the Horn advertisement, I pay attention to who's playing there, because usually they play, like you're saying, more like jazzy house kind of, or like funky house kind of. I really like that lane. I think one of the reasons I first started getting into this, because when I first started playing piano and stuff, like seriously, like those were some of the tracks people would actually pay me to play on. So I kind of got in there. Oh, you want to pay me to play? Sure, I don't mind. You know, come through. You know, it's like, all right, you know. But it's grown on me. I'd say like when it comes to that though, I'm less of a selective person. I'm more of like going out to a place and just whatever the vibe of the room is like up to the DJ. To me, I think the DJ is a lot more important when it comes to house music, personally.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, DJ's the tempo, the climate.
I don't listen to it on Spotify like that. You know what I mean? Like if I'm listening to house music, I'm going someplace where they're dancing and stuff. I'm like hanging out. Because for me, I don't mind. You know, I like listening to that stuff live, and it gets me a certain feeling. And I like listening to live bands. That's kind of my preference when I go out.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I don't mind like live jazz band or something. I'll sit there for an hour. It's fine. You know, it's like, I like.
You might just go up there on stage and start playing the piano. Hey,
someone might just call me out. Yeah, right. It's happened before. Like, oh, we got a guy here. You know, oh, I tried to hide, but it's okay.
One main thing that I wanted to point out was your Jay Ivy's Grammy-winning spoken word album in 2023. Could you walk us through that?
You know, it's not as glamorous as it sounds in regards to my particular role with the project, and I'll be frank with you, because I made a track that he used, and we had made the track a couple years before the album was even put together. And I used to live in Chicago, and I ran into him going to local jazz events. He would go out there too. I think we were both looking for musicians to work with, actually. So that was one of the tricks. You go out to like a jazz show and you might find a kid who plays guitar like really, really good. You know?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. So we ran into each other out there, and we made a couple tracks, but then I moved to California.
Uh-huh.
And then one day he just texted me and he's like, "Do you have your suit? Are you going to be in LA on Sunday?" Like, what are you talking about? Why have my suit? Am I going to be in LA on Sundays? Yeah, you know, the Grammy nomination, blah, 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 blah. And I wasn't active on social media back then.
Okay.
So the reason my social media is kind of low now is because I didn't really do it when it was like booming. If you notice, like 2019, 2020, a lot of people really grew their following.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then if you started in 23 or late 22, it was like a lot harder because they started, you know, changing the policies, I think. But anyways, I wasn't on the social media, so I really didn't know nothing about it. I didn't even know we were up for a nomination until I got a text message saying, "Get your butt to LA."
Wow.
Pretty much. Like, I had no idea. I remember he sent me a contract so that I could, you know, to have permission to use the track.
Right.
And it was a great opportunity that it ended up on his project. But I do take a little bit of pride in that. But at the same time, I wasn't involved in the actual process of getting votes. I wasn't involved in like the press campaign, and I wasn't involved in any of the kind of like front stuff. Mm-hmm. So in my perspective, you know, my role is more of like a member of the team rather than like a big member of the team. It's just like a member of the team. So that's actually an inspiration, because one day I'm gonna get my own for world music. That's that's one of my goals. So but if it wasn't for that experience, I probably wouldn't have continued to make music, because I was at a point where I was like, man, I've been doing this for all these years. I need to make some money, you know.
Right.
But being involved with that and with the Grammy, that really had like, okay, dude, you aren't just some sucker.
Right.
So that's kind of helped me out a little bit. But yeah, I went to the show. I was sitting in the upper deck.
Right.
In the kind of like staff section.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It was a great experience. And I'm grateful for it. And then also, I don't think there's too many guys like me who are involved in those kind of projects. Mm-hmm. Especially, it has like a really strong message for, you know, the Black community. So for me, it was also sort of like an honor to be involved. Does that make it, if that makes any sense? Because a lot of times it's like, oh no, you're not even welcome here. You know, that happens in certain places. So it was really cool. I was really appreciative of it.
Wow. Well, I mean, even though you weren't doing the campaigning, it's meat potatoes. Come on, that is the heart of the track. Like, that's a big step.
Yeah, no, I really love the track too. Like, actually, the instrumental of the track, I was thinking about putting out with Tensei, because my Tensei project is just doing beats, and the vocals is going to be me moving forward. But yeah, because there's a part where I sang an entire string orchestration to players. Like, I sang all the lines.
Wow.
Yeah, like the horns, the violins, like you name it, like dee 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 dee, bop 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 bop, you know, and then they just played it like verbatim. So I was really proud of that track, even before all of that, because it was one of the first times I actually did what they call oratory composition, which is like something I guess is like not very common. So I was kind of proud of myself for that, you know. So one, I was like, damn right, you know. I was like, yeah, that's right. That's the one I sing for the orchestra, you know. Like,
it's like it brings me back to music class, scat singing. You know?
Oh yeah, love it, love it. Actually, on that subject, here in where I live in San Jose area, about an hour north, there's Berkeley, California, has the university. And every Monday, Bobby McFerrin, the actual best jazz singer ever, possibly the best ever, he does an event every Monday at noon, and it's like open to the public. So I just been going there to practice.
Wow.
Yeah. We just do. It's funny that you mentioned scat because every Monday I'm sitting there scatting for an hour nonstop.
That is so dope. I love it.
I like it. It's fun.
Now I'm gonna start doing it.
I'm just like this. Look, hey, if I had an equipment malfunction at a gig, there's nothing to worry about because I'll just beatbox and scat until they fix it. There's absolutely no problems. The entire freaking DJ computer can break and I'll be fine.
We're gonna wait for your part 2 Godzilla.
I'll just come up with something, you know. Yeah.
That is so cool.
Thank you.
So you spent 15 years, like over 15 years, collaborating with artists globally. Mm-hmm. What's one most memorable projects or artists you've worked with, and what's your takeaway from that experience?
That's a very difficult question, but I'll have to say Iluma. I don't know, you might not have heard it. It was released by a German record label called Tokyo Dawn Records in 2019. Mm-hmm. And it was sort of like ahead of the game in regards to like alternative R&B. Back then, alternative R&B wasn't really a category you look it up, but we had so much coverage from that. Like there was so much press back then for that project. And the one thing that I learned is that even if you can make great music with a collaborator and you guys know what you're doing is on the right path, that doesn't necessarily mean that you'll blend well in a live situation. Oh. Yeah, like if you're working remotely on the internet and back and forth, but then you get in the same room one day and it's like, yo, we got to do this live now. You know, it doesn't always work out, and it's not necessarily because of the talent. It's because it could be other things. It could just be like, yo, the vibe is different than I expected or whatever. But I learned from that project is I learned like, okay, I can get a lot of press for my work with this artist, which is great, but that doesn't mean I can necessarily monetize it because the shows are like a DJ and a singer shows. And so like, it's like, well, you're expected to be a DJ too. And it's like, oh, I'm not a DJ. I guess I got to practice. You don't have enough time for that, buddy. Like, So that was the takeaway from it. It really inspired me too towards like focusing on my own stuff more. Mm-hmm. Because I realized that if I was the person with the mic, then I would be the person that just needs a DJ.
That's
so. And so I don't know. It was a great learning experience, but that's probably my favorite project I ever worked on.
Oh wow! Okay.
If you ever listen to it, it's like a mix of like it's got house in it. You'll love it if you like house, but it's like bass house. And she's singing and rapping on house beats.
That is interesting.
Yeah, check it out. I'll send it to you later. But yeah, it's very.
I might have perused it. I know I listened to a whole bunch of your songs. I was going through all the tracks on Spotify. So.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for listening.
Oh yeah, I was like posting the boba tea. I mean, a bunch of different things. Yeah, so I'm gonna look at it. Most definitely. That's very interesting.
Yeah, but I'd say like another one that I learned a lot was I was working on the first release that my band Tensei did with the Plug Research in 2012. It was like an instrumental project. And I by some strange fate, I was able to network and connect with this really amazing composer named Kahari Lemuel, who's from Chicago. He's like a master cellist. He is on Oprah when he was like 6 years old. Amazing guy.
Wow.
He's actually a monk now. He quit music and he actually he's a monk. That's all he does. He's a monk. He's a really spiritual guy.
Wow.
And I learned a lot about composing from him.
Wow, that
was a great experience as well, I'd say. But that's how I kind of picked up the orchestra side, was like kind of he kind of rubbed off on me. And then wanting to pick up the mic, A Billy Free definitely rubbed off on me.
Wow. So he just said, I'm going to be a monk one day.
That's what he said.
That's wow.
I'll try to say it in like the best way possible, but he's one of those guys who grew up in a church family and he's really about like being wholesome.
Yeah.
So he said, you know, people were trying. He felt people were trying to get him to make evil music. So rather than doing that, he said he's going to be a monk instead.
Wow.
Yeah, he's a legend around Chicago. His name is Kahari Lemuel. He doesn't have social media. He's not on there at all.
Wow.
But if you ask the who's who of Chicago today, everyone knows who that guy is.
Wow, that's an amazing story. My goodness.
Yeah,
that really,
he just said, you know, he's like, I don't like the vibe. I'm not. And his opinion was that the lyrics are more important than the music for him, and so he didn't want to be laying down tracks for people who are going to be cussing or talking about, you know, doing bad stuff. And
yeah.
So he was just like, I'm out.
Wow. That's deep. That's deep. So what is your favorite part about collaborating? Is there like a moment where you clicked with someone in your collaboration?
Yeah, every time that so if there's a collaboration, it depends if it's an online collaboration or if it's an in-person collaboration. But online collaboration, it's like, oh, if I like what they sent me, I'll just throw down. In person is a little bit different because some people have a different level of like improvisation skills. So if we're sitting there jamming together with like other musicians and stuff, sometimes it's like, okay, this is really, really cool. Other times it's like, okay, wait, let me tell this guy what we're playing so he knows what the key is, you know? Because like there's a lot of like improvisation, like, you know, freestyling basically with like musicians jamming and stuff.
Right.
So it just really depends, I guess. But I'd say most of the time, if I feel like something isn't going to be right, I'll just walk away from the opportunity. So I try to like my best to be like, hey, who is this guy? You know, oh, okay, yeah, he seems like a nice person. Or who is this lady? You know, what are they talking about? Or, you know, to me, that's kind of important as well, because I don't want to surround myself with people who are trying to like take advantage of other people so much. So that's why I'm kind of like careful about that part.
Yes, yeah, that part. You know, it brings me back to like the whole. I understand people like to do a freestyle, but sometimes they get carried away and they want to do solo dolo. Like I'm the side of
You know what we used to call that? We used to call that, hey, bro, you're skeeting off. Stop skeeting. Because that's exactly what it is. It's like, nah, dude, just play the chords. Like we don't need Miles Davis. This is not Miles Davis. This is not John Coltrane. We're not doing that today.
That is too funny. I love it.
So yeah, we said this thing. There's some players come through and be like, bro, you're skeeting. Come on. You know.
Oh my gosh, I'm definitely gonna I'm biting off you. So next time I hear them, like, look, Kramer said. Okay. Shifting the focus to your singing and rapping and songwriting, what made you decide to focus more on these aspects of your artistry?
Well, because it was my first instrument. When I was a kid, I could always sing. Like, I never really was in like a band and when I was a kid, but like, you know, go to church, just sing in the choir, you know, elementary school, get picked to be in the tenor section and stuff like that. So when I was little, I had like sort of like that foundation of being able to sing. I guess they say it's perfect pitch, I think is what they call it, but I'm pretty close. Okay. And so I've always kind of had the ability to sing. And rapping was something I started when I was 13 in the back of the bus. And, you know, I set all that down because I had so many friends that were really talented that needed beats. And yeah, I was like, you know what? I want to kind of take it back to the beginning, like when I was a kid. And when it's funny because when I'm on the mic, I feel like a kid. I actually feel like a kid.
That's really cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of take it back to that. I was like, well, and plus, I'll be honest, the other thing is like making tracks for other people can be hit or miss. On the financial side, it can be hit or miss.
Oh, wow.
So So like it depends, you know, just case by case. But if it's my thing, then I'm kind of in control of my own destiny. You know, that's also kind of how I look at it as well. It's like, okay, I don't need to ask so and so where's my money, right? Because it's so it's like, yeah, kind of that thing.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. Definitely want to feel inspired, especially at your youth, you know, that it's ingrained, just your vibe and just a holistic feeling about it, right? So you're like a
Yeah,
kid.
thanks.
It's not a job. It's like you're having fun.
It's fun. Oh, it's absolutely
Yeah.
fun. Every single time on the mic, I'm having fun. Like I'm thinking, like I feel like a kid. I actually feel like a kid.
So, how has your near native fluency in Japanese shaped the way you write and perform your music? Are there any
Mm.
like challenges or unique opportunities that you came upon?
For Japanese?
For both.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd say like it's interesting because when I sing and rap in Japanese, I sing and rap the same exact way I would do it in English, which sounds kind of black, kind of influenced by black music. But in Japanese, that's like kind of unprecedented, if that makes sense. Like, so
Mm.
like, there is no Japanese John Legend, really, you know?
Right, right, right.
But then on top of that, it's like, wait a minute, you're not even Japanese. So there's like these juxtapositions.
Right.
And it's like, wait a minute, who are you? Like, so for me, incorporating the Japanese into my music was an idea one of my friends gave me. He said, Chris, man, I hate to break it to you, but there's a lot of people out there that just, they're not feeling white boy rap, man. He's like, he was being honest with me. He was keeping it, like, he was keeping it 100%. He's like, you should just try Japanese. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to try Japanese. And it made a big difference.
Mm. Yes, it's a very unique. And your voice has like you can't tell who you are. Like who is Kramer? That is not why you had the name Who is Kramer. Because it's like, who are
Who
you?
is this dude?
Right?
No, that happens when that happens all the time when I'm out and like I go to different events with like I'm really into vocal jazz.
Mhm.
So whenever I see a vocal jazz event or like you call it scatting, you know, I always try to go because you're allowed to participate from the crowd.
Mhm.
You know, it's not, they don't like there's no band. It's like
Mhm.
the band are the vocalists. And, you know, and so I always like that, just kind of vibe out that way, I guess.
Okay. So, what projects are up ahead and like that you're most excited about in the coming months? Any
I got this track called
collaboration?
Stop a Life. I'm
Ah.
absolutely like I never thought in my life up to this point that I ever had a song, whether I was a producer or an artist that was like quote unquote the one.
Right.
This one turned out really good. I'm really excited about it. When I went to Japan, actually, I was collaborating with a producer in Osaka, Japan.
Mhm.
And after I made like 2 or 3 songs, they were all like, he liked them a lot.
Mm.
He's like, bro, you got to come out here and we got to make some videos. So I
Right.
show up and there's like 20, 30 models. It's like everything's laid out. It's like, Kramer, okay, go here and sing this, go here and sing that. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. So I was really excited. And then when it was actually singing the song, the Japanese people who were there were all like, what in the is this? Wow. You know?
Yeah.
So then I saw their face and I saw their body language and I'm like, holy cow.
Right. Right.
I was like, wait a minute. This person is 23 years old and likes it. Sitting next to a 40-some-year-old person and they like it. I said, wait a minute. There might be something going on with this one. So Stop a Life as what is a single from my Japanese project. I have 2 projects this year besides Trees that came out already.
Yeah.
It's a Japanese project. It's like 5 tracks all in Japanese. And it's gonna be springy. Like the singles will start rolling out soon. It'll be spring. And then the summer, I got an English project that I'm working on with a producer from Spain,
Nice.
named Bruno Viega, and it's more like dance music. So getting back to your house thing.
Ooh.
So yeah,
Yeah.
there's gonna be like Japanese like, what the hell is this stuff? And then there's like, after that, for the summertime, we're doing like pretty much like a love dance project.
Ooh, that's so dope.
Yeah,
I,
but that's
I
for the
can,
summer when it's hot outside, right? You know?
yeah. I can definitely see the tango.
Yeah, yeah. I say those are the things I'm most excited about.
Okay.
But they're definitely the Stop a Life one because I saw the people, like, even these guys. I played it for these guys, right?
Right.
I looking at their faces and there's like,
Right.
seriously.
That is so
Like, wait a
cool.
minute, are you Japanese? Are you half or something?
Right.
Is your grandma Japanese or something? Like,
Right.
so, so
That's so funny.
I think when we don't have a lot of money to spend on like
Right.
expensive like
Yeah.
video shoots and photos, we have to do something that makes us different than everyone else.
Yes.
And so, my friend who kept it 100 with me was like, yo,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, a lot of people aren't trying to hear white boy rap. I took that to heart. And I was like, okay, fine. I'll make house tracks and Japanese tracks.
That's
Cool.
so dope. It's so dope. It's unique. So, what is something that you wish more people knew about you as an artist and you would like to share with your fans today?
Yeah. I'm actually a person who doesn't use AI. I play everything by myself. And unless the producer used a sample, I don't sample anything. It's all organic music that
Ooh,
comes we just make it. And also I like to like let people know like I'm a regular guy. Like even though I got like a Grammy award, I'm a regular guy. I go out to anywhere, talk to anyone, like I say hi to everybody. So I try my best to bring positive energy outside the house. A
okay.
lot of times it's hard to do that online, but in real life, like meet people, and it's like night and day. So for all those people out there who are like, I'm not sure about this guy, when you meet me, you probably be like, wait a minute, it's like different, I guess. Social media is different, I guess, than real.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. So, how has your experience been with NNO 360 today?
That's great. I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, that's
I'm
awesome.
so, yeah, and this is our first interview, and we're going to have many more later on.
Okay.
Well, be sure to subscribe to Chris Kramer and
Yes.
NNO 360.
Yes, at Mark Who Is Kramer on every platform is me. Whoiskramer.com. You can find me. If you send me a message, I'll actually reply. And so if someone wants to talk to me out there, chat me up by anything, it's cool. It might take me a while to get back, but I definitely go through all my messages. So just hit me up.
Okay. Well, you heard him here at NNO 360. Please don't forget to like, comment, to view all the episodes in NNO 360. This is going to be streaming live on YouTube. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Instagram. We're going to put a reel up on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. I don't know. I think we're pretty much on all the platforms. And please, let's continue to support the Unity for Social Justice. Let's free Monster Yo and all our brothers and sisters that need our support. This has been a broadcast of showing love full circle between NNO 360 and Mr. Chris Kramer.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you so
you.
much, sir.
So yeah, anyone out there who's like, seriously, last thing I like to say is like, I'm definitely about trying to make things better in the sense of the racial dynamics in America. It's really difficult at times, but my whole thing is like, I'll just serve as like a example of transparency.
I love it. Yes, you definitely have illuminated to people that anything is possible.
Who knows, man? Who knows? We'll have to see if anything's possible because I don't know about being in space, but I want to go there one day.
Okay, yeah, that sounds good. Well, here you have it, Mr. Kramer.